I never liked falling asleep on public transportation. It's one of those things that always felt unsafe. Too many stories, too many headlines. But that night, I couldn't fight it. The train was nearly empty. Just the soft, metallic hum of the rails beneath me, the flickering fluorescent lights, and the rhythmic rocking of the car. It had been a brutal shift. I'd pulled a double at the diner, and my feet were screaming by the time I stepped into the last train heading uptown. I remember sliding into the corner seat of car 7. It was warm there, warmer than I expected. I tucked my coat tighter around me, placed my backpack on my lap, and let my head rest against the glass. The city outside blurred into streaks of light and shadow. I told myself I'd stay awake until my stop, just 15 minutes. That's all I needed to stay alert for. But the steady rhythm of the train had other plans. My eyes grew heavy. The world slowly melted away. I jolted awake to silence, not the kind of silence you get late at night when everyone's tired. No, this was deeper, heavier, a silence that felt wrong. The lights in the car were dimmer than before, flickering softly in that way old bulbs do when they're about to die. The window next to me reflected my face back at me, pale and a little damp from the warmth of the train. But the reflection was too clear, too still. I realized then the train wasn't moving anymore. I sat up straight, my heart starting to hammer in my chest. The usual noise, the rattle, the track hum, the air brakes was gone. All that remained was this distant, low groan, like steel pressing against steel, somewhere far away. I checked my phone. 2:47 a.m. I'd missed my stop by a long shot. The train doors were still closed. The platform outside was pitch black. No sign, no light, no name of the station. Just darkness pressing against the glass. "Hello," I called out weakly. My voice cracked halfway through. No answer, not even an echo. I stood, gripping the nearest pole. My reflection in the window stretched unnaturally with every flicker of light. I stepped closer to the door, squinting through the glass into the station. It wasn't a station. It looked unfinished. Concrete walls with streaks of dark water dripping down. Rusted scaffolding. No benches. No posters. Just long, dark hallways stretching into nowhere. It was cold, too. The kind of cold that feels like it's seeping straight into your bones. "Where the hell am I?" I whispered to myself. My breath fogged the glass. A soft clang echoed from the other end of the car. I froze. I wasn't alone. I turned slowly, every muscle in my neck tight as piano wire. There, 3 cars down, through the connecting doors, someone was moving. A silhouette, tall, slender, standing completely still between the swaying doors, as if watching me. I blinked once. It was gone. The doors at the far end creaked softly, like metal scraping metal. My heartbeat thudded so loudly in my ears it drowned everything else out. I knew I should have stayed put. Called 911. Waited. But something inside me, a cold, primal dread, told me not to let whatever that was get closer. I yanked my phone out again. No service. Not even a single bar. Of course, I forced myself to breathe. In, out. The nearest emergency exit panel by the door blinked faintly. I slammed the button. Nothing happened. Slammed it again. Dead. The PA system crackled softly above me. A low hiss filled the car. Then a voice. But it wasn't the usual robotic voice announcing stations. This one whispered. Wet. Low. Slow. Last stop. I stumbled back, nearly dropping my phone. "Who's there?" I called out, trying to sound firm. It came out shaky. No reply. Just that low hiss, like breathing through broken glass. I moved toward the next car, pushing through the swaying door. The rubber seal around it groaned as I forced it open. The next car was colder. There was condensation on the windows, like frost. The lights flickered faster now, a jittery strobe that made everything look like stop motion. 3 seats down sat a woman. She was turned away from me, her long black hair falling forward like a curtain. I hadn't seen her before. "Hey," I whispered, stepping closer. "Are you okay?" She didn't move. I tried again, louder. "Hey." She turned her head too slowly. Her face was pale. Eyes wide, pupils dilated. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Then she raised her hand and pointed, not at me, behind me. I whipped around. The far door was open now. And there, just inside the doorway, was a figure. It was tall, too tall. Its head tilted to the side, like it didn't quite understand how necks worked. It took one step forward. The lights above us buzzed louder, flickered harder. My breath caught in my throat. "Don't," I whispered. I don't know why I said that. Maybe to it, maybe to myself. The woman behind me suddenly began to whisper, soft at first, then louder. "Last stop, last stop, last stop." Her voice didn't sound like hers anymore. It layered over itself, like a broken tape on loop. I backed away toward the next door, but the tall thing started moving too. Its movements were wrong, stuttered, jerking forward like someone dragging a mannequin by strings. My hands shook as I reached for the door lever. It jammed. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. The lights went out. Not a flicker, not a dim, pitch black. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. All I could hear was the woman's voice, now whispering right next to my ear, even though I could swear she was still sitting far behind me. And underneath her whisper, that low groaning breath. Right in front of me. Something brushed against my coat. Cold, wet. I screamed, yanking on the door with everything I had. It burst open, slamming against the next car. I stumbled through, hitting the floor hard. I didn't even turn back. The third car smelled wrong, like something had been rotting there for a long, long time. The floor was wet, slick under my shoes. My hands trembled as I used the pole to stand up. The dim emergency lights glowed faintly red here, painting everything in a sick crimson hue. At the far end, movement again, this time smaller, faster. A man crouched in the corner, rocking back and forth. His clothes were shredded, covered in grime. His nails scratched at the metal wall like he was trying to claw his way through it. Sir, are you okay?" I managed to choke out. He stopped, slowly raised his head. His eyes were completely black. No whites, just void. "Too late," he whispered hoarsely. "You're already here." I felt the train shift beneath me. A rumble. Not movement, just the metal creaking, like the entire tunnel was breathing. What does that mean?" I stammered. He didn't answer. He started laughing instead. A dry, cracked sound that echoed off the walls. Then, without warning, he crawled toward me on all fours. Fast, too fast. I screamed and bolted for the next door. I slammed into it, pushed through, and kept running. The echo of his crawling, that sick, scraping sound, followed me down the cars. My lungs burned. My heart felt like it might punch through my chest. Each car looked worse than the last. Seats torn apart. Windows blacked out. Strange symbols smeared across the walls in something dark and sticky. And then I saw it. Through the next door's tiny window, the same tall figure. Waiting, head tilted, watching. I skidded to a stop, my breath ragged. The man's laughter still echoed from behind me. The whispering woman's voice was somewhere in between. The tall thing ahead of me. Trapped. Think, I whispered to myself. I remembered something. An emergency latch at the very front car. Manual override. If I could reach it, maybe I could get out. I turned and ran toward the very front. My shoes splashed through something slick. My palms burned from the metal poles I gripped to keep steady. The tall thing moved too, stepping into the next car behind me with a sound like bones cracking underwater. I forced myself not to look back. If I looked back, I'd freeze. When I finally reached the front car, it was almost silent again. No laughter, no whispers, just that groan of steel and the faint hum of dead power. The conductor's compartment door was slightly ajar. I shoved it open and slipped inside. It smelled of oil and dust. The control panel was dead, no lights, no display, nothing. But the emergency latch, a bright red handle, was still there. I gripped it, my fingers trembling. Then the PA system came alive one more time. No way out. I pulled the handle. The entire door mechanism let out a loud, shuddering hiss. The front door slowly unsealed, the icy tunnel air rushing in and biting at my skin. A narrow service walkway stretched ahead into the darkness. A sign above it, half rusted, barely readable. Maintenance, do not enter. Behind me, soft footsteps. Slow, measured, getting closer. I stepped onto the walkway. My knees nearly gave out as the metal grid beneath me creaked. I kept going, one hand on the wall, the other clutching my backpack like it was my lifeline. The tunnel was colder than the car. My breath fogged in front of me like smoke. The air smelled like rust and stagnant water. My shoes splashed through shallow puddles as I moved forward, every step echoing far too loudly. Then I heard it again. The tall figure stepping onto the walkway behind me, each step slower than mine, but deliberate. It didn't rush. It didn't need to. It knew it would catch up eventually. The tunnel curved. A dim light flickered up ahead. A service door, maybe an exit. I forced my legs to move faster, ignoring the stitch stabbing at my side. The sound behind me grew louder, closer. When I reached the door, I yanked the handle. It didn't budge. No. I slammed it with both hands. Open. The sound behind me stopped. I turned. The tall figure stood about 10 feet away. Head tilted, arms too long. Its jaw hung slightly open like it had forgotten how to close it. Last stop, it whispered. Something inside me snapped. I screamed at it, no, and rammed the door with my shoulder. Once, twice, 3 times. The metal groaned, then gave way. I fell through, hitting the ground on the other side. It was another hallway. White fluorescent lights, humming faintly, a maintenance area. I turned around. The door was slowly closing behind me. The tall figure reached forward, its fingertips brushing the threshold just as the door slammed shut with a metallic bang. Darkness swallowed it whole. I collapsed against the wall, gasping, my hands shaking uncontrollably. For the first time since I woke up, I couldn't hear it anymore. No whispers, no footsteps, just the hum of the lights above me and my own ragged breathing. I stayed like that for a long time, or maybe it was just a minute. Time had lost all meaning. Eventually, I forced myself up. The hallway stretched ahead, and at the end, a glowing red exit sign. When I finally pushed through the metal door at the end of the tunnel, the freezing air of the early morning hit me like a wave. I stumbled onto an empty street, under a dark sky painted with the first hints of dawn. Behind me, the heavy door slammed shut, sealing the nightmare away underground. I didn't look back. I called a cab with shaking fingers and climbed inside, not even telling the driver where I'd been. I just gave him my address and held onto the seat like it was the only solid thing in the world. Even now, hours later, I can still feel the cold on my skin. I keep telling myself I imagined it, that I fell asleep and dreamed the whole thing. But when I checked my phone this morning, The GPS showed my location in a part of the subway system that doesn't exist on any map, and at the bottom corner of the screen, in faint, glitching letters, was a message I didn't put there. Last stop. I made it out, but I don't take the subway anymore, and sometimes, when the city goes quiet at night, I swear I can still hear it. Step, step, step. I hope you liked this story. Please subscribe to listen to more such stories.